Hi, this is Derek Murphy. Today I'm going to talk about making thumbnails for YouTube videos. I started my YouTube channel probably 5 or 6 years ago now, when I was in Taiwan, and I'm still doing almost everything wrong. I focused on short, useful videos, but not on production quality. So my videos have a lot of content and they're very informative, but they're not necessarily the easiest to watch, and I haven't really focused on building my channel or designing it the way that I should have. I get a lot of comments from people saying, this is great, this is really helpful. Some people reach out by email telling me how much my videos on publishing or book design have helped them. But I also get a lot of negative comments or criticism about, the way my videos aren't very polished. And although there's lots of things I could fix on my YouTube channel, today I'm just going to focus on the thumbnails. As you can see, most of my videos don't even have real thumbnails on the videos. Sometimes it's just a picture of me talking. A few times I've tried to make thumbnails like this just using WordSwag, which is on my phone, which is a little easier because then I can just use my phone to make a video, make a thumbnail, and upload it right away. But there's no design consistency or brand consistency. This is another series that I made some thumbnails. This is another series I made some thumbnails. But there's definitely a lot of room for improvement. So I'm going to show you through that process and how that looks like for my channel. So the first thing I did is a little bit of competitor research. I just Googled some basic search phrases that are relevant to my content. So this was how to publish a book. And I'm just looking at how these thumbnails look. So usually in a YouTube thumbnail, you want to have some big clean text. Often they'll have the person who's actually talking in the video. The one that stands out here is probably with Chandler Bolt because he put this colored background behind it and then these white on black, really bold title text. So that stands out really well. Some of the others just have kind of a whiteboard behind them. This one has a split screen and then a book here. That's kind of cool for branding, especially if you're an author, if you have your face and then your book right here. This one specifically is about how much money does this self-published book earn, which is nice. It's a nice piece of content marketing. So she's marketing the book, but also providing really useful value to other authors. Here are a few more. Some of them are just, a guy talking, which is what a lot of mine are. This one is Project Life Mastery. So again, he just has the white text on the black background, which looks really sharp. Kim Chance has kind of like a rounded box overlay over her pictures. This one's a split screen, so it has a picture of Stephen King and then this really clean text layout on a solid color background. I kind of like this. My style is a little more subtle, so I like this one. But the one that really stands out here is this from Smart Passive Income, which is Pat Flynn. So he has his logo or brand down here, Smart Passive Income, and then also a big relevant picture, but it's not actually Pat Flynn talking, and then this really big blocky white text. So the thing with design, and this is something I talk a lot about with book cover design, it's great to have really big text that grabs your attention, but it's not absolutely necessary to convey all the information in the title text. This is just to get the information. The real text is here, and this is what people will read before they actually click. So these images are just to get the attention and convey the main benefits so that they read the whole title and the little teaser down here. I also haven't been careful with my teasers. The teasers, the first couple sentences should also have a lot of keywords. That's something else I'll revise soon. But the thing I want to keep in mind is that this image, yes, it has to grab attention, it has to communicate benefits, but it's also the place to establish branding. And what you'll see is a lot of these kind of look similar. Like even though this really works because it's really bold, strong text, it's also, something that you'd expect to see on YouTube. So on the one hand, you don't want to do something totally different or crazy because if it works well, that's great. Pat Flynn is using, it's like the shortest, easiest cheat to success is to use what works and to do it really well. On the other hand, my brand is also, my YouTube channel is part of my brand, and I have an opportunity as a designer to stand out. I'm not great with the video editing or the polishing. I'm not really a great public speaker, but I am a designer, so I can use my thumbnails as a way to establish my design abilities and my design credibility. So here are a few more. This one's really interesting. It's also from Pat Flynn. where it's a screenshot of success. So basically he's circling, this is a #1 bestseller. This is immediate proof that this tactic works. So it might get attention. It also shows his book cover as #1. So even though it's not really promoting it's indirectly promoting his book. So he's talking about how to market your book. And this book, Will It Fly, is not about book marketing, but he's still putting his book in front of a new audience and highlighting his credibility by circling the success point. So that's really interesting. It's not something I would do on every video, but on some videos it makes a lot of sense. This one is Mark Dawson, and that's kind of interesting because it's not his YouTube channel, it's just a picture of him as the thumbnail, but this is actually Amazon KDP, and that's pretty funny because Amazon KDP is, of course, $1 billion industry, and they're really not trying very hard. They're putting this stuff up on YouTube. They probably did. I'll bet this is from a conference like the London Book Fair, and it might be just a short, well, it's a 1-hour interview actually, but they're not really optimizing this video with a thumbnail or with great text. There's not even like a description here. This is one of mine, so it's just a picture. It's not really a thumbnail. Kristen Martin has a really strong YouTube channel with great videos, really highly polished videos, and her thumbnail is just a really simple, this font is Babass New. It's just, well, I'm pretty sure it's Babass New. It's just a bold blocky serif font, and it's clean and it looks good, but compared to this one by Evan or this one with Dale, these stand out a lot more. This one's just book promotion. It's not even specific about the benefits, like, what about book promotion? It's a really general topic, but because it's so big, it really stands out. I also like the colors in here a little bit better, orange and black. I'll show you in a minute what my brand colors are, but this just really stands out and grabs attention. And then this one also, it's got a little logo here. It's got the speaker's name who's been cropped out, a background in yellow and a teal and blue title text, teal and orange. If you've watched any of my cover design tutorials, you know that teal and orange is just the best combination of colors. It's really eye-catching, and this again is just Babass New. It's a really big font. I'm actually a little wrong. So this one down here with the R, that's Babass New. This one up here on Kristen's is probably English Gothic because it has a straight R. But anyway, that's just a little bit of research on my competitors to kind of see what I'm up against. I have to be as eye-catching as these, but also try to use my design and my branding differently. This is an opportunity to stand out and to do something different. I answered a comment recently on Facebook. Someone asked me what the difference was between brand and platform. A platform is how many people you can reach. So I have like 12,000 YouTube followers or something. So those are people I can reach on YouTube if I post a new video. That's my platform. The brand is how my content makes people feel. And that starts early. Even if my videos aren't very well polished, I can make them feel a certain way by using certain kind of fonts or colors or images, even in my thumbnails, even before they click the image, to predispose them to feel a certain way about me and my brand once I start talking. So this is what my website looks like right now. It's okay. I've been using this orange and gray color scheme for a while. That's mostly just because the WordPress theme that I use, which isn't the best WordPress theme in the world, but I've been using it for probably 5 years or something. It works. I made a custom graphic image on top. Recently, I added this little button down here to get more opt-ins. It goes straight to an opt-in form. So this is kind of my current branding, and it's all right, but it's not great. One thing you'll notice in my blog that I'm also doing wrong, same with my YouTube channel, is that I don't always have featured images. So that's something that I'm actually fixing right now. Yesterday, I spent a bunch of time making some new featured image templates so that I can have my virtual assistant start to make featured images for all my blog posts. Now I'm doing the same thing with YouTube. So they don't have to be the same. This is kind of what I went with. And I use Photoshop because that's what I'm comfortable with. There are a lot of other free online tools that you can use to make thumbnails for YouTube or featured images for your blog. I actually have my own online graphics tool, which I think is better than Canva, but I haven't really promoted it yet because I want to make templates for it. It has a lot more versatility. You can make layers and blending, and it has a ton more fonts than Canva does. Canva is really limiting. It's fine for like basic online graphics stuff, but for book cover design, it's not really good enough. So I want to have my own online cover design tool for people who don't have Photoshop. But for my personal brand and platform, I'm going with Photoshop just because I can really make things look the way I want it. And if I use something that, if I go online and search for like, you know, a program, an online program that makes YouTube thumbs, it's going to make pretty generic stuff that a lot of people are already using. And I really want my platform to stand out. Because like I said, this is a really big opportunity for me to stand out as a designer with YouTube thumbs that don't look like everybody else. So this one already looks okay, and I've already set the image to the size that it needs to be. For YouTube thumbs, that's 1280 by 728. And even though like this is all right, it's not what I'm going to use for my YouTube thumbs, and there's a couple reasons for that. The first is like featured images look great, and they're really useful. Like if I share this article on Facebook, it'll pull up the featured image in the preview. So it's important to have really good looking featured images. And this one's a little too dark and the text is a little too small. So I actually fixed this to make it a little bit different. The background picture you choose is evocative of the emotion, and the colors and the feeling and the mood is really important for all of that. So even though you can read the text clearly with this dark background, it's not having the emotional effect that I want it to. So I'm going to lighten this up so that more of the image shows through. But the main thing is like if they're already on my site, it's great to have images like this. It makes my site look a little bit better. I also made a Pinterest image. I'm going to go through and start making Pinterest images for all my blog posts as well, like this, because that's something that's really easy for people to share on Pinterest, which is really important for traffic. So with those new strategies, I'm going to try to double my blog traffic pretty quickly once all these images are done. But like I said, this is for people who are already, like they've already found my content and they're already on my website reading my content. So that's different from YouTube, where they're seeing a whole bunch of people's content and they're scrolling through, and whatever thumbnail jumps out at them, like this one has a really big text, those are probably the ones that are going to slow down and read the description and click on. So these thumbnails are really important. So the ones that really stand out, I've already said this, are the ones with a full background colored image or one color scheme. And then either like these rectangular bars, which is kind of a cheat to just put the bars behind the text so that the text stands out better, but it's effective. It works really well. This one with the black text, the black bar and the white text, and this one with the white bar and the black text. They're both really effective to get that title text to stand out. And they both use a really big sans serif block font. This is actually a really nice one down here as well. I've done some book reviews on YouTube and I'd like to do more. So this just has the book cover and a really big book review shout out kind of, and a solid color background. That's really powerful. So that's kind of an example. Even for not book review thumbs, I might want to do something like that, which is like a huge big title. So I need something with a lot of color. I need something with pretty big blocky title text, but I also want to include some of the branding and the fonts that I've been working on for my main platform. It's a risk to do something different. Like if this is really effective and really works, you want to copy the best practices and then do it better than the best practices. You want to be the best, basically. I also pulled up a few design examples. These are not YouTube thumbnails, but these are just examples of good design that I thought looked really good for branding. I really like these colors, even though it's not exactly, my brand colors is a little bit more orange, but I really like this yellow on gray. Probably like mine would be a little bit more orange because even that join free, the white doesn't really stand out against the yellow. But this stuff looks really good. So it's a combination of a little bit of a script font. This is Satisfy, I think, the font. And then a really big blocky serif headline, and then a smaller thin, a sans serif headline, a blocky sans serif letters, and then a really thin sans serif subtitle kind of. And then this is just like the speakers cropped out on a dark background. The other thing I'm really curious about, so I really like, this is almost like a YouTube thumbnail size already. I like this really bold headline, the smaller text, and then the button. I haven't really seen people use buttons like this on YouTube thumbnails, but it's kind of a clever idea, so I might play around with that. This is, again, not a thumbnail. I just like the colors and the font. So you can see down here, it's a thin sans serif and then a really blocky in color sans serif and a big colored background. This one's from the same example as before, from the same platform. So it's a script font in color, a really thin sans serif, and then a really blocky sans serif and a button. This one I thought was really interesting. It's a background picture, but then it's a split color down the middle. It really stands out. It's a lot more eye-catching because of the color. So I may play around with something like that as well, where there's just a double color background and then just white text in the center. The lines also make it look really clean. This one has kind of a logo, really blocky text, a stroke on the outline, and then a background picture. This one's also really good, gray and yellow, really clean text, and then this hand-drawn arrow to kind of point to the benefit. Instead of just having thumbnails talk about what is in the video, I'd like to experiment with having more benefits in my YouTube thumbnail. So for example, get a free book, download now, something like that. Or free templates, free book formatting templates, free book cover design templates. That kind of call to action with an arrow in my YouTube thumbnails could be really effective. This one's just a really big, get this free book, download now. It's not, again, it's not a YouTube thumbnail, but it's really clean design. It looks good. And I think having a YouTube thumbnail like that, at least on some of my posts, or maybe like if I was advertising a YouTube video, which I'd like to start doing, I can have a video talking about this free book that they get and then have a thumbnail like this on that promoted video. Here's another one that looks really good and clean. I'm not always a fan of this. The stroke, I think a really light one. The stroke is the outline around the border. It's eye-catching, it catches attention. I just like more of an open feel to my images. But I like the really big, clean text. I like the kind of handwritten font, and I like the really big get started button call to action. This is another I thought was a really cool image. So it's like an image of the book cover. This is kind of like an offer to get a free book. So it's a picture of someone interacting with the ebook, get the text guide, free guide. It's just a really clean, nice image. So I might try to do some things like this. Again, it's got this like eye-catching hand-drawn arrow, which I think is kind of cool. Anyway, so those are my design inspiration. Now I'm going to play around in Photoshop and see what I can make kind of as a default template to start using for. So I actually spent the last hour or so playing around and trying to make thumbs. So I'm going to show you some of the stuff I came up with and then some of the final decisions that I'll probably make. These were the first ones I tried out. I tried to do that thing where I had to split two different colors. It really does stand out. It's a lot more eye-catching, but it's not really right for my brand. These are some that kind of work okay, like they're fine. I use some of the colors and the fonts that I like, the yellow. I tried putting the rectangles behind the text to make them stand out more. I tried this layered thing with drop shadow, but that's a little bit too much work. I'm gonna have to do like lots of these thumbnails, and I don't want to spend a lot of time making them all, even if I have a template. So things are starting to look better, kind of down towards here. I tried like using a picture of me, like the screenshot that would be the regular YouTube thumb, just with some really blocky serif fonts and a little bit of this script font, which is Northwell, which is the font that I chose for my blog redesign also. It starts to look pretty interesting when I get into colors. If I add this split screen, because the yellow text really jumps out from the teal. That's a really good natural contrast. And then I tried just putting a yellow bar, which makes everything stand out even more. So I kind of went with something like this. This is the one that I kind of like just about the best. I think down here there's this one, which has the yellow text down here as well. So this one looks really good. The problem I was having was getting the same type of colors and saturation when I tried to use other pictures, like the background or some stock photography that I found it basically looks all right. It's pretty clean layout. So this is going to change when I change up the text or the title, but it's pretty easy to keep this kind of consistency. This is basically how it looks in YouTube. It's really nice, clean design. I tried adding this really thin white stroke around it. If I go back a few stages, you can see some of the other stuff that I was playing with. So these, mostly they look really good. They stand out really well. Over here in my layers, basically these are just different gradient fills where I have a really hard edge with the gradient. And then different kinds of blending layers together. So this way I can go back and forth and add different things. I was trying to get the right kind of color. Depending on the background picture that I choose, I may have to adjust the colors or the settings or the saturation. So I added a few layers up here. And the real test is kind of how these actually look on YouTube. So this was the default thumbnail from before, which really doesn't look terrible. Some of my thumbnails are really, really bad. This one doesn't look so bad, but it really doesn't stand out when you look through all these other thumbnails. This is kind of the one that was fine. Like this is a very well designed, simple thumbnail that would work in most cases, but it kind of looks like the other ones on here. It doesn't really stand out enough. It's not really branded. Whereas the new one that I chose is just a lot more dynamic. The colors really jump out. It's very different from the other stuff on YouTube. So if I made YouTube thumbs like this for all of my videos, then my brand would really jump out. There's a discussion to be had whether or not I should have like my face in all of them. Like a lot of the other YouTuber stars, they'll have their face for branding. My hypothesis or the risk that I'm taking is basically that if people don't already know who I am, then seeing my face isn't going to matter because I don't have any brand value or trust just by seeing my face. And they're going to see my face anyway when they start watching the video. So the thumb is really to be attractive to people who don't know my face. They don't know me. They don't already like my content. So it doesn't really matter what I put in the picture as long as it's a very attractive, attention-getting image. I actually already uploaded one for this video, and you can see how nice and attention-getting it is on YouTube. I won't do this for all of my videos. I think it's fine to have my face, and I'll probably continue to do live videos or something where it's just me. But I do think the style is going to work pretty well. I might do a follow-up once I've actually implemented this and redone all of my thumbnails for my channel to see what kind of boost I got in views. I also went ahead and fixed my header up here, which I haven't fixed in probably 3 or 4 years. I just wanted to kind of match the new branding that I'm going to be using going forward. So I hope this video was helpful if you're thinking about your own design or your own brand or making thumbnails for your own platform. If so, make sure to leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about my new thumbnail design. Let me know if you have any questions. And of course, if you are interested in art, creativity, publishing, or any of that stuff, please subscribe to my channel, like, comment, and all that jazz. Thanks. Bye.